Hello everyone, welcome to MACSMIN 2025. Now Professor Andrey Ustyuzhanin will talk about accelerating Superionic conductor discovery. Please, Andrey.
Yes, thank you very much, Vitaly, for inviting me, and thanks everybody for coming. In this short talk, actually, I realized that slot is 50 minutes. Just recently, for some reason, I thought it was 15. Okay, so discussion. I will convey the main message within short time, and if questions will arise, we'll have more time to discover in details. So the main project, the main question that we wanted to address in this work was how to speed up discovery of materials that can serve as electrolytes for ionic batteries. So, and in these materials, conductors of electricity is supposed to be not electrons but ions, which gives better capacity and better efficiency compared to electronic batteries. This is what theory suggests, and question is which materials do have high ionic conductivity. There are many issues that need to be resolved. In particular, ionic conductor is one of these, which we're going to focus on. But also there are electronic insulator, and you also have to take into account how to design the interfaces, and chemical dynamic on those interfaces is usually quite sophisticated process. So we are focusing on small problem here. So only on this green thing, solid state electrolyte discovery. And to predict, one have to run first to find a suitable configuration of atoms that has potentially good conductivity, at least for one of these atoms, and then to run some MD simulations to understand what is the actual mobility coefficient of these atoms. And this is where this DPD approach can be helpful. So we used to validate AI here. We use vanilla molecular dynamics with potentials taken from somewhere else, and so the cycle of computation is kind of like dependent. So when you change the position of atoms, the position of one atom, the forces it affects the configuration of the whole crystal a little bit at least, and you need to update it and then recalculate forces. That makes problem a bit computationally complex and demanding, especially if you need to take some prolonged in time trajectory. So it's not femtoseconds, it should be at least 100 picoseconds. So it requires many iterations. And I'm going to present two approaches that we tried. One of those is about learning dynamics by treating dynamical properties as a target for trained neural network, and trying to omit all the intermediate steps, hoping that neural network will be able to generalize and approximate what happens when atom moves around a cell of crystal. And another approach is a bit more rigorous. So we design a so-called potential energy surface and analyze this surface structure to understand how this structure might correlate with mobility of atoms, mobility of individual atoms that we select for to be a conductive one. And with help of this approach, we designed a set of descriptors that we can apply to any material, and we can scan effectively a large set of potential configurations that we taken from material project dataset. So all these materials are known. The thing is, ionic conductivity is not known for many, so it is available only for small fraction. And what we found, I will present at the end, in the end of the talk. So the first approach to learning dynamics is depicted on this cartoon. Usually with molecular dynamics, so you have some initial configuration of your material, and you have force field, and you run molecular dynamics. And you get the trajectory of an atom out of which you compute some coefficient like diffusivity and or mobility, right? And this is very time consuming. On the contrary, so what we tried to estimate is just take the force field and the label that we computed for some of materials, and hope that a neural network will be able to pick up the dependency between left and right and predict something meaningful. So in more details, when we have a structure, we had to like appreciate variability of the structure with respect to thermal noise and respect to some at least initial dynamics. How that shows what happens with this structure within a very short period of time. So for the second thing, for computing short periods of evolution, we took a force field from machine learning potential, one of models. We took one of the state-of-the-art like 7net or maybe something modern, and like send these trajectories into equivariant graph neural network that considers graphs of atoms, or replicates graphs of atomic structure, and features of these nodes are accelerations that that is not dependent on species, only accelerations that allows this model to generalize better. So we do not embed in this neural network information about particular atomic numbers. So we only give information about accelerations that these atoms have. And so these are preliminary results that shows that in principle model is able to learn something. So this loss error goes very close to 0. However, the R2 or R squared coefficient is a bit far from 1, so from the ideal number. So, and these are results. So these are information that we extracted from full trajectory, or 100 picoseconds. which is a bit cheating because from these 100 picoseconds you can reconstruct all the numbers about diffusivity that you want. But from 5 picoseconds, from this just initial structure, results look the following. So, and as I said, we currently are working on approaches how we can enrich this model to make it more predictable. So if you have any questions regarding what we're trying to do or why we're trying to do, you can ask here before I switch to the second approach that we tried.
Can I ask? It's very interesting. So in your learning dynamics approach, so you first run some initial simulations, real simulations.
Right.
Then you learn, I guess you learn the trajectory, learn the dynamics.
Yep.
And you use that to kind of generate some future trajectory.
From dynamics, we learn to predict the coefficients.
Okay.
So diffusivity. So this is well, from force field plus some initial sample of trajectory we want to predict.
So after the first initial samples,
yeah,
you don't need to run any future trajectory. You just learn the diffusivity, for example.
Yeah.
Okay. And have you tested how good is the estimation?
It's not that good, but not that bad.
Okay.
It's not terrible.
Okay.
The graph neural network used this out of the box thing, or
I think it was custom, so it's not out of the box, so not pre-trained. So it is.
Yeah. So but they have in the graph neural networks we have these attention mechanisms, right?
I think here we didn't use any attention, so it was just equivariant graph neural network.
But you basically tell it what
is important.
What is important? Yes. So how do you?
Yeah, this is one of the dimensions that we want to improve. Either use kind of attention or use architectures that deal with time series well, so that has time embedded into it. Because currently we just compute some statistics, and on top of it. Yeah, so it was just initial step.
Sorry, can I ask? So once after the first few initial samples, did you do you have to calculate the force field, or do you have to learn the force field of the whole system?
No, we use for force field we use one of machine learning potentials out of the box.
You pick up some of them.
Yeah.
Okay. And then
well, it could be replaced with DFT as well, but since it is very approximate approach, so we decided not to spend too much computational power. On DFT here.
So I'm not very familiar with the GN, but for the traditional approach, for example, if you want to estimate diffusion, you can have velocity autocorrelation function, for example.
Yeah.
But here, I was just wondering, if you only have the force field, how do you estimate the diffusion coefficient, for example?
So you just compute the displacement over the time.
Or do you use something like mean squared displacement?
Yeah, mean squared displacement over the time.
Okay, I see. But you only use the first few samples
to predict, yes, but here we use only few so here is 5 picoseconds of a trajectory, as an input to the neural net.
You basically give the first 5 picoseconds the trajectory.
Yeah.
Give it to the neural network, then it will.
Yeah,
Okay, you based on the MSD basically.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so the second approach is based on design of so-called potential energy surface that we build for each atomic configuration. So we take machine learning interatomic potential, and it is important to remember that these things are trained either on stable configurations like this M3GNet on stable configurations, or on some relaxation trajectories that cover only part of the possible atomic configurations. But when we move atom across the crystal structure, we kind of get out of training sample, and errors of this network can be large. But anyway, so we build this potential energy surface by freezing all atoms besides one that we want to move across the lattice. And for we scan potential in every position, and so it's kind of a blurry configuration. What is the energy at every coordinate, or what is the energy of the atomic configuration, or what is the potential in every position of the lattice? So if we move one of the atoms, and so looking at this picture, for humans, it's kind of easy to see some of the pathways that the atom can follow. So to make it more natural for machine to see, we designed so-called descriptors that characterize how these volumes of low potential, how nicely these connected with each other. And so there are two basically kind of descriptors, like a free volume. So it's a volume with energy below a threshold, or energy barrier. So it is minimum percolation energy from position of atom inside one lattice and the same position in adjacent lattice. So like how much energy you need to add to get from one position to another. And so we had a small data set of labeled data, either simulated or experimental, for which we combined several descriptors or chosen descriptors to predict diffusivity or predict diffusivity ranking. So we're not interested much in the absolute value of diffusivity here, but we're interested in some kind of relative ranking between diffusivity of different materials. So here is a more illustration how this free volume descriptor look like. So we have this potential energy surface, and we apply some kind of threshold, removing everything below threshold. That gives us some free volume, and we can compute this free volume like relative to the volume of the lattice. Or we can compute connected free volume. So there are some variations what we could do. And so depending on the threshold, you get different predictive power of these descriptors. So these were different thresholds. We analyze what are the scores of different models. So we selected a couple of most predictive ones. And basically, out of all atoms in material project that contains lithium, and probably this was the only condition that we applied. So we built these potential energy surfaces and computed these descriptors and computed the mobility of atoms using so it was a validation step, computed mobility to understand how this score relates to actual mobility. So these are illustration of these free volumes for some of the atomic configurations. And so we selected several top ranked atomic configurations, like top 10 plus a few known superionic conductors, which is lithium, phosphorus, sulfur, and then lithium, germanium, phosphorus, sulfur. So and all these materials have very high score given by our model. So and then we validated for some of them what is actual mobility using molecular dynamics under different temperatures using traditional approach. So and then it is seen that indeed for top predicted materials for which mobility is known, ionic mobility is known, our ranking corresponds nicely. There is a clear correlation between ranking that we predicted and simulated mobility. And one interesting result of here is that one of the top materials that we found to have should have ionic conductivity has this formula. It's a hydroborate structure, and it is not known. I mean, it is not studied experimentally. And since then, since we published this result, we're still looking for somebody who could synthesize this material and to validate our predictions. We contacted the team at Switzerland, and they work with hydroborates quite extensively. But they said, okay, we need maybe to submit a grant proposal, 1 year of studies. So their concern is that this material might be not very thermodynamically stable. So it is stable dynamically, so it has minimum in its configuration, but thermodynamically it is not. And actually, this is the question I wanted to ask Simon. So when he was mentioning this SUN metric of success of the generative model, so stability at SUN stands means dynamical stability. So if you cannot like form another configuration out of these atoms that has less energy than your crystal. But thermodynamical stability is another measure that should be taken into account. Oh, I was wondering what he thinks about it. But anyway, so this seems to be not thermodynamically stable, at least what I understood talking to this experimentalist.
How do we know?
It's their gut feeling.
Until you try.
Yeah, but
I can tell you from experience that some entries in materials project are hilariously wrong.
How do you know?
I know because I synthesized something and then I published it, and then I found a publication on the same material in a completely different crystal structure from materials project, and then
Same composition.
yeah, and there were a few papers calculating phonons and everything on a structure that I think doesn't exist. So I feel sorry for the PhD student who has to synthesize about materials project that maybe it doesn't exist. But I mean, I have no idea. Maybe it exists. Yeah. That's the question.
yeah, it's like a Schrödinger material.
I mean, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
And who knows how difficult it is to synthesize? As you say, you cannot only reach things in the thermodynamic minimum, you can also reach other things with the correct procedure, but finding that can be tricky.
It's a challenging thing. So more details on this available in the paper, and this is a summary that I will not read just for the sake of time. So thank you very much for your attention.